Hello, welcome. I am the offspring of our special guest today, El Profe Nito.
Yes, and this is Batmanny Emmanuel Lopez back with another episode.
Hi, everyone, and I'm Elsa, the OG at Puede.
And a special guest today,
Gaby.
Gaby is my mom.
Yeah.
And
The mom of the profe.
Yes.
and she's up from LA visiting. We invited her into the space because she is a GED recipient.
Yes.
Woo!
Bravo, bravo.
So she herself has passed the GED. And so today we brought her in to give us some advice, answer some questions, and pick her brain a bit about her experiences. Does anyone want to start us off with a question?
I think I can start. Gaby, what would you say motivated you to get your GED in the first place?
Actually, were my kids, because I've always emphasized education, degrees, and at some point I'd sit down and say, well, I'm such a hypocrite because I'm just, I dropped out very young from school, so I never had a high school diploma or went to college. But I was just, at some point I was like, I'm such a hypocrite, just, enforcing and putting this on my kids' brains. And then I'm not doing nothing about it. So I need to get up and say, you know what? They're doing it. Why can't I do it? So I got up one day and I had planned to retire, and I was at home doing nothing. And I said, you know what? Let me just go and enroll. I have a community college down the street from my house. And I went and enrolled that day and started the next day. I really didn't think about it. But behind my head was, if I'm enforcing this to my kids, always education, always this, and I'm not doing nothing about it, how could I even sit there and enforce it to them or pledge to them that this is if I'm not doing it and I'm not following? So I got there, signed in, went, started taking classes, and there's resources, there's places. So I took advantage of it.
Nice. That's awesome. Good to hear.
Did you have any fears when you first started?
You know what? I went with the mentality is like, I'm going to try my best. If I can, I will. There's so many, I know there's chances and you could retake the test. I'm like, okay, if I fail once, that's fine. I could do it again. I wasn't going there with the nerve of saying, oh, what about if I don't? What about if this? It wasn't about, it's like, I can and I will. And yes, I might, not pass the first one, but I could try it again. And that's fine. It's all about trying and learning from the first experience and doing it again. So I just went with the mentality is like, if I get it, it's gonna be it was actually one of my bucket list things to do, but it wasn't like, but it was just, I went to do with the mentality of it's gonna be fun. Let me, go in and try it and see what was out there. So it was fun. It was fun for me.
And what advice do you have for our jóvenes that are just getting started? Like, what would you tell the jóvenes who are curious of doing it and have not? Or what advice do you have for them who are just getting started?
Again, going there with the mentality, I can do it. I will try my best. Don't go with the mentality of, I'm going to go and fail. That's not going to happen. Take that word out of your mind. I'm going to go and try my best and do what it's out there. There's so many resources. I mean, I had great teachers. I had this older teacher that was a retired teacher already. She was about in her 80s, and she was just working out of her time. She was calling me at 8:00 at night. She was, texting us, and she was just went out of her way. There's people out there. Just, there's going to be help. Just go out and reach for it. And there's going to be so many people that are trying to help. So do not be fearful. I got my GED when I was 45. And, there's, just go out there and just get it. And you will. Because, a 45-year mind versus a 19, 20-year-old kid, brighter, smarter, 10 times smarter than me.
I'm not that smart.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm.
He's smart.
You're smart.
And you know what? What I did a lot. I taught myself a lot of the things because there's a lot of things out there and there's a lot of resources. But I would get an assignment and let me go research a little bit more and let me go to YouTube and see what other examples of this they have and let me Google this. So I was just like getting that little the resources I was getting from my community. I just like kind of try to get other examples of the same thing. And so I started teaching myself things. And I mean, I passed math my first try with like a point. And that was probably the little hardest test that I would, but it was just like, I when the night before, and I had a bunch of stuff from the teachers that were giving me like all these examples and things. And I remember just going on YouTube the night before and just kind of got up a little bit earlier, just went and got a lot of, just researching extra things. And I went and took the test, and that was it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's so many things. I mean, there's so much. Now with technology being so advanced, everything's there. Everything's in computer, and teachers are the best, resource of help because they're always there to help, and they all go out of their way. So don't be scared. I promise you, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I do get scared a lot. In anything I do, I'm writing, directing, and a lot of things I get there's a lot of fear. So even doing the practice that I don't want to mess up. I always want to be 100% working. Because if I could put writing and directing 100%, then the GDs can be quicker than that. But there's a lot of fear and there's a lot of fear. I'm like, I can't do anything because I get criticized so much growing up, even now, by older people, and be like, oh yeah, you can't. So I mean, there's a lot of fear in my head. I'd be like, from like writing, and then even going to like GED, I have a lot of fear from that too. Like, imagine I don't pass the first one and then I just start freaking out. I always get panicked.
So what is the fear itself of failing the sub tests and like having to retake it?
Yeah, I think that's
or
the
like
fear.
the test taking itself.
Maybe the test and then coming back with results. And I see you guys be like, yeah, you guys passed. And then, when you don't pass, where's that? Hey, you know what I mean? It's just like, that's like the negative mindset that comes in when you're taking so many tests. Because there's a lot of moments where I didn't even pass my driver's license. I took it like 10 times.
I took it 3.
Yeah, you know what I mean? My mom was like, you're not going to pass it. And I was like, and I did pass it eventually. And I need it. But that's why I'm saying, like, in my mind, I don't want to take the practice test until I'm comfortable and know that I can do it. I don't want to throw myself in the woods and just die. I just want to, you know what I mean? I just want to be in a comfortable spot and be like, okay, I got it. That's where I'm at.
The thing that can be tough is that feeling of like seeking perfection or seeking like being at a certain level, because it can also hold you back a little bit, right? If you're always worried about it needing to be, or you needing to be at a certain level in order to take tests, like it can stop you from even finding out if you're there or not yet.
Yeah.
Because like you kind of have to take the risk, right? You have to take the plunge a little bit sometimes and be okay with knowing that in a lot of ways in life, sometimes if we fail, it feels like that final failure, like there's no coming back from it.
Yeah.
But this is one of those examples with getting to take the GED that's really awesome, in that if you fail a subtest once, that's not the end of the world, right? Like if not, most people probably expect it, right? Because they're learning something from it. They can come back, focus on what they maybe didn't do right, or they could have done better. And then that can be their emphasis to like practice again.
Yeah.
So this is one of those good like trial and error type of experiences, because I hear what you're saying. And I think, we can be a little bit more mindful, I guess, of how we like celebrate jóvenes passing, because I think we don't want that to be the only thing we celebrate. I think igual we can look at jóvenes that take a subtest, and even if they don't pass it, that's still a celebration, because one, you took the subtest, right? Like people probably didn't think you were going to. People didn't think you could. And even if you don't pass it, like El Profe Nito said, like there's a chance to then learn from that.
Yeah. The second time around will be easier than the first time.
Right. That's it.
Yeah, and definitely learning from those mistakes and knowing that there's opportunity to retake it.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
And honestly, I'm going to tell you, the test was easier than the practice test for me. I thought the test was way easier than the practice test.
Oh.
I was like, because I started taking the test as I thought I was comfortable with. So the first one, I think I was like history. And then like I did the practices we had at the classroom and all the practice tests was a bit harder than I thought it was. My that's how I felt. It was way easier the test than the practice test for me. because a lot of and again, a lot of the questions and it's just kind of common sense. It wasn't just everyday life and a lot of the things. So it was pretty self-explanatory, a lot of the tests. The only one that was a little bit was math. But again, I kind of always fear kind of math myself, but I was like, I'm going to probably take this one like 5 times, which is fine. I didn't, because I knew that wasn't my best, but I passed it with 1 point.
Nice.
1 point.
There
one
you go.
point. And I was just like, but I went with the mentality, just like, I know it's probably not going to happen in this one. It's probably going to have to take it a couple of more times, and that's fine. I wasn't even fearful. It's like, it is what it is. Again, you get how many? I don't know how many chances now. Like
you get 3 before you have to wait. But usually, they'll ask you even after taking the test, like, do you want to retake it? Sometimes because some people want a better score. So yeah,
even after passing it.
Yeah. So it's pretty open, and then after the 3rd try, then you have to pause a little bit and then take a practice test.
Just gonna be for that one,
Yeah.
or like,
No, not the 4, not the 4 in total. Yeah.
It's not like you're gonna have to wait forever just and take all of them. It's just that one that you're.
Si Se Puede Academy is a youth education and empowerment program offered by El Centro de la Raza, a community organization. Si Se Puede Academy aims to support and inspire young people to achieve academic success, develop leadership skills, and become positive contributors to their communities, focusing on promoting cultural pride and fostering a sense of community among its participants. The program provides a range of educational services and activities designed to empower students and promote their personal academic growth. For the most up-to-date information on the program, I recommend visiting El Centro de la Raza's official website or following us on Instagram, ECDLR_Si Se Puede Academy. Once again, ECDLR_Si Se Puede Academy.
Well, I like what you said about, already looking at the practice tests that you're getting ready to schedule, right?
Yeah, I had to get it done.
And then looking at, maybe a high expectation of doing one a week, because there's a lot of kind of practice that comes with it.
Right.
But obviously, the work that you get to do with El Profe is helpful.
Exactly.
Like,
that's why I was waiting for you too, because I was like, because when we're doing those questions, it helps me. My brain just tells me it clicks super well.
And if it is about the fear, right, it's already kind of putting you in that space, in that environment. So when you are dealing with the real deal, it's not like something brand new. It's like, I've done these practice questions. I've been in this like silent room. I've been looking at a computer and reading off of the computer. Right. I've been used to this format. So you're getting the anxiety stuff like out the way once you're like putting it into practice as you're doing it.
It's like doing a practice or mock interview, right? You do a couple of those before a real interview. And
all
of a sudden you're like, wait, I've done this before. This is familiar. Like, I'm more comfortable. And I also feel like I've noticed that with some of our other jóvenes that have already passed subtests, it's starting to become like a domino effect, right? Like they pass the first one, and then El Profe Nito makes the good point that usually it's the English one that they pass, and then they go into history right away because it's essentially a copy of the English one.
Like an extension,
So it's like, if you can pass this one, I know you can pass this one. And they kind of knock those two right off the bat. They're feeling really good about themselves. They've done some success, and now they're ready to like take on maybe the more challenging subjects, math and science.
That's how I kind of split it myself. It's like what I started feeling comfortable with, and actually the teachers were the best to tell me, what, you should take it already. You're like, we're doing the practices right here, and you're like, we gave you homework and you're doing it. Just go and take it, get it off. So I was like, they actually scheduled me. We had it. They would have the test there in our community college also, and get it right now. Here, go.
Dang.
And I was like, okay. Didn't even think about it. I wasn't even planning. It's like, okay, just go and get it right now. It's just, they're gonna start doing it right now at this time. Just wait. And I did it without even thinking about it. I felt comfortable.
That's similar to some of our jóvenes too. Like you talk with them and you're in session with them and you're like, one, you should be in college, but something that's taking them a while for it is that fear still of like the intelligence. Isn't it about the intelligence? It's literally about, I think the statement holds true, is about showing up. Like half the battle is showing up. And that tends to be like a lot of the fear, anxiety is like showing up to the test.
Yeah.
Being reminded too, I think a lot of the jóvenes that we have that have disengaged from school is like the school system kind of let them down, right? It could have told them that they weren't good students. It could have told them that they weren't capable of something, and it's like that kind of stuff sticks with you. And so to like unlearn that, unpack that here, and be reminded like, oh, it's not that I'm a bad student, I just was in an environment that didn't help me learn the way I needed to learn, and this space can be that space for them.
Yeah, that was a big. I remember we talked about that. You know, the car accident, they really let me down, big time. That was no question about that. You know what I mean? They didn't even help me out. Being gone for that month. I mean, I could have graduated. I could have walked the stage. I could have been in LA right now. Realistically, everything. And maybe if I did graduate, I wouldn't be in LA. I wouldn't be doing the things I'm doing right now. So everything happens for a reason. But the school really did mess me up. That was kind of a really hurtful thing because I did want to walk the stage with my friends, and I felt really bad not walking the stage. But I have my own. I feel like I have my own purpose and what I'm gonna do, and everybody else has their own purpose around me. So I was like, I don't need to walk the stage. I could just get my GED and it's still the same thing. And a lot of people are like, why are you getting a GED? You know, you should have walked the stage. You're dumb. And people were like, and there's a lot of like my friends, family, and then there's a lot of people like, you're dumb for that. And you know, I look at it like, I still get my high school diploma. Don't need to walk the stage. I don't need to have my gown. It's cool. I can just show with you guys and just do practice and get my GED somewhere, right?
It's like an unfortunate reality, still a stigma, right? That I think here at Puede Academy we're constantly working against, is that whole like, that the GED is not a lesser than a second option, because you couldn't do high school option, because I think it's still tabooed as that. And jóvenes feel that, right? When we first bring up the GED option to them, they're kind of like, like, why? You know?
Well, for me, I feel like getting a high school diploma is the easiest thing. All you need to do is show up every day. Basically, that's what it is over now in high school. They don't even retain you if you're not getting good grades. It's just like show up every day and you're going to get a high school diploma. A GED for me is, I think it's, and again, a lot of companies, because I work in a lot of industries. I mean, a lot of HR people, and they say they hire. It's better. They like hiring more with a GED versus a high school. Because a GED is, they go into a test. They go and have to practice for this test. And these tests are more intense than just walking or showing up every day to high school.
Yeah.
So this is like, we sometimes, this is how we kind of figure out like, okay, GED, school, you know, we know that they're a little bit more, it's a little bit harder to get a GED than so it's, for them, it's an intensive to get, you know.
See that? Because it's like, oh, you have the self-discipline to like, take 20 minutes out of your day and do it, right? Because that seems to be like a common theme of like, I don't have the time, like time management. And I think, like you're saying, GED shows that you have good time management and like self-discipline to do it on your own.
Especially when balancing other things, right? Because I think one of the things we've also noticed here in our community is that a lot of our jóvenes have other responsibilities, whether that's family, whether that's work, whether that's, you know, being here for the first time in this country, learning a new language. Like they all have other things that they're carrying with them while trying to get their GED. And then we see that they're making an effort and an emphasis to prioritize their learning here. And it's like, you want to reward that. And so you're seeing their discipline, their commitment, like growing as they're working on something that they're choosing to do, right? They're making the choice to do that. So that's really, really cool to see.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's all committing for me, dedicating on anything I do. I always want to be 100%. You know, that's why I pushed back my dates to LA, because I was like, if I move to LA right now and I get my GED, and you guys been saying, like, what happens if LA doesn't work out? Broke. I got nothing. I still got my high school diploma. I still go to college or community college. So do a different routes. But that's in my back of my mind. I know my front of my mind. I'm like, okay, I got these projects. I got to do these. Dedicate my time. I got my GED right there. I got to take my mom, you know, help her out for her struggling. I want to retire her. That's what I want to do for my mom. You know, that's a dream I want to do for her. Get her papers for sure. If she could go to Mexico and build her house over there. Just do everything for my mom. Yeah, get back to my mom and my sister too. Pay for high school, pay college tuition. If she wants to go to college, be a better brother and be a better. Tell her, like, you know, you need to graduate high school. I don't want you to, you know, GEDs. I mean, yeah, I was like, you need to graduate high school so you could get that diploma and you walk the stage. And my mom can say this, you know what I mean? I didn't do that. but you can now. And it's time. This the whole floor is yours, not mine. I did my thing.
And that's beautiful. I think a lot of us, especially first gens growing up in the US, I think we're always told that me as a first gen immigrant growing up, like mi mama, she never finished school herself, but she always told me, you have to go to school, you have to go to school. And I struggled myself through education because I heard you say how you have to have a plan B. And I remember myself wanting to give up on school. Like I was never like your straight A student. Like I was like always passing the puro panzazo because it was like I always had to retake tests. But we all have our own learning styles, right? Like Spanish was my first language, and I struggled back in LA going to like bilingual courses. Like I would always like tell my mom, it's your fault that I don't understand English good and I grasp it, like because you put me in these bilingual classes and now I can understand, and I struggled the whole time. But at the end of the day, like siempre me decía, no, education. And even when I was going to give up college, like I always remember to this day how my aunt told me, like, oh, education is like what's going to push you through. Like you always have to have that backup plan, ¿verdad? Because as women too, right? Like it's like you don't want to depend on, like, if God forbid you're in a relationship and things don't work out or whatever it is that your goals are. Like they would always tell me education is going to be your backbone. And I'm so glad that I listened and I pushed through and I retook so many tests and courses in college because it was a difficult journey. But at the end of the day, for me, education was what allowed me to change the narrative for my family nowadays, right? Like buy a house, provide for my little brother, help out my mom here and there. I don't do it 100%, but I feel like familia, like those are like the things that kind of push us through the adversity, right? Like remembering that why we're entering whatever journey it is, high school, GED, college, that why is like strong. And at the end of the day, education, having that plan B, education, whatever it is, whether it's a GED, a trade or anything, is always going to be good to have in case things don't work out the way you had originally envisioned. Like you have that backup of like, I feel like GED or high school diploma just opens up so many other doors, whether it's we want to go into the trades, college.
Confidence goes, my confidence went up. Just, I remember once I started feeling and walking like, I want to go to college now. I remember telling my son, he's like, I want to go to college now. I want to do something. I want to do something else. I got a test. I graduated. I have something. And then the pandemic happened and I couldn't graduate on stage because I was going to they had picked me to do a speech for the school. But then pandemic happened and I wasn't able to. But it was just like simple thought that they thought about me to do it. And because I gave them my story of how I ended up, had my son when I was 16. And it just how I dropped school and everything. So they were just kind of like, and you just got up one day and said, yeah. So I'm like, how hypocrite of me not, getting an education, and I'm enforcing this on my kids. And my confidence just went up the roof. I am ready to go back to school. That's my goal in the next couple of years. Take college courses and just, I like having things. I like buying things. I want to have I want to retire young. I want to, So
those options open up.
Yeah, and those options are going to open up. I want to have a good retirement pension. I want to, so that's my goal right now. So that's hopefully in the next couple of years. The next year, I'm going to give myself a year to go back and have a couple of college courses and get a little degree. So I'm going to, again, another plan A, B, and C.
Yeah. We can welcome you back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might do that too. That's when we were talking to Professor. I was like, well, if I'm in LA, I might go to UCLA when I'm done with 5 projects. Like when I'm done filming a lot of projects, maybe take a little year break, just a couple months break, and just go to UCLA, just do a course. I actually want to learn stuff when I'm I don't want to be broke and be like, where are they now? You know what I mean? Those YouTube videos and be like, he's homeless off the streets. I want to be wealthy and have good money for my kids even later on, and even for their kids to be good and not just me, you know what I mean? And even my both my parents, even though I don't have my dad around, I still want him to be okay. I still want my mom to be okay, not be okay, be at the best, be like, I actually got money, my kid got money. And that's what
the generational
wealth, just for any generation from here on out, just help them out, because it's kind of crazy to me that I'm I see the answers to everybody generation past. I'm the only one that's established at everybody else. And for me, that's a big thing for my mom's side. and from my dad's side. I'm the biggest thing coming out of anything in history of Lopez's or whatever that it came past, before me. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's cool though. It's a blessing, and I know I could do it, and I know I could be the best, be better than James Cameron, be better than Tarantino, be better than all these directors.
Be the best Freddy you can be. Yeah. I wanted to touch on something really quick, not to interrupt you, but I heard the notion that like this can be like a fallback option, right? Or like in case plan A doesn't work. I really think now, and I'm not trying to sound like I'm a sage, wisdom-filled guy, but I feel like a lot of times we think that like education is that like plan B, but a lot of times the education influences the plan A, realistically, right? Like the door to plan A won't open without the education that we get from a GED or from our high school diploma, from a college degree. So it's like to think of it as a fallback option, I think is like not necessarily wrong. It's more just like I don't think we're seeing the picture as clear as we're looking at it.
Right.
Realistically, education is plan A. It's plan A, like the what's it called, the prelude. It's like what you need before plan A even begins. I think because so often like we have dreams, aspirations. We talk about the different things that we want and how we can get there, and like you kind of circle around all these different things that you could do to do it, and then you still end up deciding I need some kind of learning to happen in order for me to get to where I need to go. And so I think bringing that to the forefront, right? I think that's why folks like El Profe Nito is like his love for learning is so evident because of that, because he understands that in order to accomplish the things we want to accomplish, you need to never stop learning, right? I think some of the best teachers always use that as their catchphrase. Like I'm a lifelong learner. I love to learn. I never stop learning. And it's for the right reason, because anything else you want to do in life is going to take some learning.
Yeah. When you want to produce something or do something, you have to learn how the hardware, the software, whatever it is you're doing, you have to learn about it if you're trying to become like a professional at your task. In some way you have to learn. Education comes in so many different definitions.
It does.
No one's just a pro.
I ain't no pro.
What is it? You need like the 10,000 hours or something to become like a expert at something.
Expert in something.
Wow, that's gonna take me a good
10,000
10,000
hours.
Yeah, that's a theory. That's a theory. If you like practice something for 10,000 hours, you become like an expert.
Well, luckily I'm not editing
Something
anything.
like that.
I mean, I'm just the
You're
person
right.
behind the camera that says action and cut, and I'm be in the movies, and I'm in the booth. They edit with me, and that's it. That's it.
I feel like you think that's all you do now.
Right.
But then
now
talk to me in 10 years when you're doing it and explain to me all the things.
After all the learning you've done.
After all the learning you've done.
After all the education, you see that your product is going to definitely advance and upgrade. Yeah, from your first projects to your latest ones, you're like, there's been some learning. There's been growth. There's been learning. Yeah.
So I just think that, that's like a good thing to sometimes bring back to Jovenes mindset is like, don't see this as like the fallback option. Don't see this as like the plan B, because there's so much life to be lived. And in order to live that life, you're going to need to keep learning. And the cool thing is like here we have a really cool opportunity to like make learning not look like what it's looked like before, right? Like, yes, there's homework or tests, exams, there's things that are similar, but all in all, like the learning is yours to build the way you want to build it. And I think that's a really cool opportunity for Jovenes to explore.
Any last thoughts or last questions for our guest?
Excited and grateful that you're here. Thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you.
And Freddie, don't be scared. Don't be scared. Take it. Don't even think about it. Don't even overthink it. Don't overthink it. Honestly,
I'll try not to. No.
We'll remind him.
Honestly, the more you overthink it, the scarier you're gonna get. Don't overthink it. Be confident. You sound very, very smart. I don't know you, but just right now hearing you, it's like I'll bet you right now $100 you have the first.
Oh, really? No.
Yes.
Right now.
That's how much confidence you just gave me right now. Talking to you and the way you speak and everything. You're ready. So don't fear. You're gonna be good.
Love that. Thank you. I needed that. For many, I might even need it for later. I'm gonna
back
call
in the
you.
week.
Hey,
You're gonna
I need it for my
Let's
speech.
sign you up right now.
Sign you up for a test next week. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you for
much.
stopping by. Thank you for
give me
sharing
the
your knowledge.
opportunity to be here and give my little story and And don't fear it.
Love it.
Love it. Thank you for joining us on Molcajete Flowers.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Si Se Puede Academy is a youth education and empowerment program offered by El Centro de la Raza, a community organization. Si Se Puede Academy aims to support and inspire young people to achieve academic success, develop leadership skills, and become positive contributors to their communities, focusing on promoting cultural pride and fostering a sense of community among its participants. The program provides a range of educational services and activities designed to empower students and promote their personal academic growth. For the most up-to-date information on the program, I recommend visiting El Centro de la Raza's official website or following us on Instagram, ECDLR_Si Se Puede Academy. Once again, ECDLR_Si Se Puede Academy.